and it's because Maddie Mullins is going to do the heavier version of Feel Good Drag.
True, yeah.
That's my little like background, like
that's your little like tin hat, like conspiracy theory.
Let me put the conspiracy hat on here. It's like that's why he's been doing vocal covers from this record. Not vocal covers, he is singing with them.
Yeah, he's singing. He's the new lead singer. He's the touring lead singer for Anberlin.
Vocal performances of it. When we were young, 2024, all album plays. We are reviewing every album that's going to be played at the festival. 56 records are going to be played there, and we're going through every single one of them.
It's a lot.
We're talking about them. We're talking about records we know. We're talking about records we have never heard. We're talking about records we love that maybe you don't love.
Maybe I hate. Maybe you hate.
Maybe you.
Maybe you.
Your fault. So we're going through them all. We're going to get there. Today's episode, we are talking about Anberlin. Never Take Friendship Personal. Lizzie.
Yes.
Tell me about this record.
Damn. So this was Anberlin's second album and was released on February 1st, 2005 on Tooth and Nail Records, which if you're in the scene, you know what Tooth and Nail Records is about. It's Christian rock. The singles
we'll put a picture of Jesus on the video.
The singles that came off of this album were A Day Late and Paper Thin Hymn. And the final song is a 7-minute song called Dance Dance Christa Pathogen, which was inspired by a German artist called Nico, which I had no idea what it was about. I was like, I don't understand who this is, but this is a song. This album was the first album that had the Feel Good Drag on it, and it did have the in front of it originally. It was longer, and it had more screams. It was a little bit more hardcore than the one that everybody kind of knows and got radio play on because it's shorter. But something that happened with that and why this wasn't a single on this album was that it was re-recorded to make shorter and more friendly for radio. It was actually put on their fourth album, New Surrender. And that was one of the lead tracks off of that album. That song was actually produced by Neil Avron, who also produced the first Fall Out Boy full album and their latest album as well. And in 2008, when Absolute Punk was interviewing lead singer Stephen Christian and said, hey, like, why did you guys do this? Was it motivated by like the record labels or anything like that? He just said that they just wanted to do the radio push and they just re-recorded it, which at the time people would have been like, oh my God, you're sellouts. So nowadays be like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
Get that money. What's interesting about this album though is that it never charted.
I will say, so I looked it up because I was curious about that with the fact that Feel Good Drag was on a follow-up record. I saw that it was on Billboard at 144.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it's like Billboard's top 200
or whatever it
heat
was.
stickers or what, but I did see that it was number 5 on U.S. Christian charts.
You know what? And that's what I put in. I put in Never Take Friendship Personal charts and I got like nothing.
Yeah.
I will say once we get to the reviews, a lot of the reviews that I found were from Christian media outlets. And I tried to like see because I was like, oh, this would be an interesting take. I've never read like a Christian music review before. They're no longer available. They are down from the sites. Yeah. So Christian Today, I don't know why you hate Anberlin.
Pay your hosting fees.
Yeah, it just is not archived probably is the thing.
Well,
but that's
it's
what
not like Christians have a history of archiving all their information, do they?
Damn.
The Bible.
I know.
I was referencing the Bible.
The whole Bible.
As an atheist. As someone who doesn't give a shit about
the whole thing.
So interesting thing about this now is that Stephen Christian is not singing with the band this year. So Maddie Mullins of Memphis May Fire is going to be singing with the band. He's been posting himself doing some vocal covers of this record.
I've seen it and I've not watched it yet.
Yeah. So now, because they're playing this record at When We Were Young, it is curious they're not playing like New Surrender, which does seem to be the more mainstream record with the radio push on it. And I found it kind of interesting that you switch out the singer and you play like a bit of an older record on this tour.
Yeah, we made a previous video about this and I'm still like unsure like what to expect. I've never listened really to Memphis May Fire except for that one day we were like looking up and we're like, this is what it is. I'm like, okay, like it sounds like a generic metalcore Christian rock band.
Active rock.
Sorry. Hard and active rock.
It's hard and active rock.
Hard and active rock. Nowadays, I wonder what it'll be like live.
Yeah.
So I know they do have a couple tour dates coming up, so I'm pretty sure that people will be posting about it sooner or later, and we can kind of see what that outcome will be.
We'll see in here. Well, let's get into our takes about the record. But before we do, we are going through all these records. If you don't want to miss one of our takes about these, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the button so that you know when our next reviews go up on this channel. We got a lot of them coming up. And if you're going to When We Were Young, I know you're going to try to figure out whether or not this is the record you should see. Maybe you're trying to plan out your day when the schedule hits. Maybe you're watching this when the schedule hits.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out what your day is going to be. And you're
Maybe you
like,
have, like,
I need
a lull.
reviews. Make sure to subscribe so you know when all of them are coming out. Lizzie, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, so I really love Anberlin. I found them because Feel Good, the one that we all know, Feel Good Drag, was playing on Fuse TV, and I really liked it, and I really took to it. And this is also in the same vein of one of my friends was like, come to my Christian church. And I'm like, this is strange to me because I grew up Catholic. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. And a lot of that kind of fell in line to were like, oh, here's these other bands like Skillet and everybody of that sort. So I was like, oh, okay. Like I really like this type of music. I don't, subscribe too much to a lot of, what they're doing in the Christian, like within the Christian rock area because of the Christian part of it. And I was just like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll listen to it. And I really, really like all of Anberlin's albums. So when I saw that they were playing this, I was really, really stoked. I really think that this is a very strong album though, like overall, but I think it gets forgotten because it has the original, the Feel Good Drag, which I personally like a lot more because it has Stephen Christian like screaming, like actually doing like screams in this. And I'm like, we could have had this instead. And we didn't have this as like the mainstay for it. But I think from the top, Paper Than Him is a fantastic song. It's really fun to like dance to. If you listen to some of these other songs, like A Day Late, it is very like, this does sound like a Christian rock song. And you kind of sit there and you're like, but it's catchy. And you don't really think too much about it unless you're like thinking about it way too hard. I also really do like Audrey Start the Revolution, which is 3 minutes, 24 seconds near the bottom of the album. I think it's like, I don't know, it's just like a really good, fun going song for me. And then their final track is a 7-minute track. But it wraps up the rest of the album really well, which is that Dance Dance Krista Pathogen one. And that's like, to go straight into like top, that's one of my top songs on that album is the 7-minute song because I want to be an issue for everybody involved.
Of course, yeah.
Of course, when aren't I? I really like it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great way to wrap up the album. And it's just a little more of a song that you kind of sit with and like really listen to. I like the opening track and the title track, Never Take Friendship Personal. I think it's a really good, if you are listening to this for the first time and you just like the genre that is like emo, pop punk, alt rock, things like that, and you heard that, you would be like, oh, this is just a normal run-of-the-mill type of album and band. And it kind of sucks you in a little bit. And I think it's really great. And also the Feel Good Drag is my top as well. Again, I think that is the superior version of the song. And you can fight me on that. I think it is way better. My least favorite is, the thing is I don't really have that much of a least favorite because I do love most of these tracks on these albums. So I'll just put the ones that I'm kind of like about would be Time and Confusion, the Symphony of Blase. And then I just put, just so it filled out as 3 as a transition song. And Heavy-Hearted Work of Staggering Genius.
Yeah.
It's literally just a transition.
Another interlude.
It's just an interlude that don't do much, but it's very much of an album I really like. I listened to it in high school. Sometimes I revisit it now. And I think it's very solid. It holds up. I just think the interesting thing of it all is that it could have been bigger if they probably did just take the Feel Good Drag and they put it out there as a single first and foremost. I don't understand the reasoning behind why they wouldn't do it unless they just didn't want this to be billed as a heavier album, because that is a very heavy song on this album. Like, I don't know, maybe try to deceive people, quote unquote. But I feel like Anberlin has done a lot within their career span, and I've only seen them once, which is at Riot Fest, and I will never see them with Stephen Christian again.
He might come back.
Hey, homie, can you come back? I don't know how it's going to be. I trust you. But one, please.
Please come back.
Please come back. And you?
I really liked Anberlin when New Surrender came out in 2008. I had known about Anberlin and I'd seen them at Warped Tour, but I never really got into them. So this is my first time listening to this record. I did not like this record at all.
Shit.
There are so many moments of this where I'm like, is Anberlin trying to be pop punk or are they trying to be a heavy post-hardcore screamo band? And they don't seem to know whether they want to do one or the other. There's a lot of parts where they have very like trying to do catchy pop punk stuff. And I'm like, but you were just screaming like a minute ago. And it's not cohesive in a way like what A Day to Remember does, where it's like everything just sort of blends and you have all of these influences coming together to make similar songs. It's like, no, you're making half this record, and then you're just like throwing them in a random order. Yeah, I didn't like this at all. Honestly, like I was really not into this record. And it's so weird because like I know that they are better. And I'm like wondering, like, that's why I looked up like where they charted on this, because I'm thinking like, well, was it just that Christian rock influence? Was it like I'm trying to do more of a pop rock or an alternative sound and trying to like find our niche in this? I also wanted to double check which record this was, being it was their second record, but their really commercial record was their fourth one.
Yeah.
I was like, well, why are you doing this one? Why aren't you doing that fourth record? And to me, I'm like, it's got to be because of Maddie Mullins being in it. There's got to be something with Maddie is doing it, but it does have Feel Good Drag on the record. So it's not the new one. It is the older one. And it's because Maddie Mullins is going to do the heavier version of Feel Good Drag.
True. Yeah.
That's my little like background, like
that's your little like tin hat, like conspiracy theory.
Let me put the conspiracy hat on here. It's
Damn.
like, that's why he's been doing vocal covers from this record. Not vocal covers. He is singing with them.
Yeah. He's singing. He's the new lead singer. He's the touring lead singer for Anberlin.
Vocal performances of it. Picking songs that I liked on it. I did really like Stationary. I dug that one.
That's a good one.
Audrey Start the Revolution, like you said, I did really like that one. Those really hit. And then Feel Good Drag because I like the newer version. Yeah. I'm going to be honest though. This one being heavier on this one is one of the reasons why it doesn't make sense on this record. Because it's like they're not picking if they're heavy or not.
And looking back, that's why like everything else. And I understand why New Surrender, if you listen to New Surrender, it's a little bit heavier. Not as heavy, but it's more in
radio
line.
rock. It's more active rock. And it's like they're picking a lane.
I mean, aside from this, if you listen to New Surrender, you listen to Breaking, that is like a pure radio rock, Christian radio banger.
It knows the lane by that point. On this record, they don't seem to know their lane yet, which is fine. No shade to that. You're learning, you're writing, you're growing as a band. It's only your second record. And obviously you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you may be just saying, okay, we're not going to pick a lane yet. We're going to do this. We're going to, be between these two things and see where you end up. But I think that's what just didn't stick with me, because I'm hearing songs like these ones that I liked and Feel Good Drag, which does Feel Good Drag and Paper Thin Hymn do feel like they don't belong on this record in a way. Like they are.
Paper Thin Hymn was also one of my faves, but I wanted to like not just put singles.
Oh, same. I'm like, it's great. I also, with Paper Thin Hymn, the hook that I recognized, who's going to call a Sunday morning? Like that part is the hook. And then I realized, oh, that's not the chorus. That's the pre-chorus.
Yeah.
But then the chorus is not as catchy as that part. And I'm like, what'd you do? Why'd you do that?
Why'd you do this?
Make the hooky part the hook.
I know. I always remember that because that was the second Anberlin song I ever heard with Paper Thin Hymn. And I always think back and I'm like,
it's
God,
fun.
Hard.
It's a fun song and it's got bars, but it's just surrounded by so much stuff that I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? A Day Late was awful. Just awful. When he said it's not insignificant that we have significant others or whatever it is.
It's but we both have insignificant others. Dude, but you're still my daily friend, Brian.
You took a shit with that lyric. No.
I was so
mad. I was so mad.
It's literally like hey, we can't be together, but I'm glad you're still my friend. It's pure Christian rock. It's pure Christian rock.
Yes, it is. It's like,
it's pure Christian rock. Like you would have your youth pastor. Is that who you have in Christian schools and your churches?
Sure.
And you are like going through a breakup with somebody else that you're with in church, and you're just like, I'm really sad. And he's like, don't worry. And then he pulls out a guitar from nowhere. Yeah. And he starts strumming and he sings you that song, and it makes you feel better. A Day Late made me think I was in a Hollister. I was like, absolutely fuck not. I guess I could get it, but I don't fully see that being Hollister core. It was, whoever's listening to that song is wearing a polo shirt. They're definitely wearing a polo shirt. Probably. And their mom picked it up for them. See?
That is the most Hollister ass song I've ever
But
heard.
who said it was Hollister and not Aeropostale?
I am.
Oh, really? Are you sure it's not JC Penney?
Yes, because it's Christian, so it's a little richer. Symphony of Blase too is just really. There was a line. I think it's stationary, where it's like, "Are there no pens and paper where you are?"
Yeah.
And then I believe Symphony of Blase comes right after that, and they say, "Are there no shadows where you are?" And I was like, "You just said that." That was the opening line of the song before.
Maybe they're trying to call back to it, Brian.
No. You can't call back in 2 minutes. Oh, remember that thing that I just said a second ago? Yeah, I heard it.
In your mind.
No, that's not what callbacks are. It's a small gripe. It made me so mad. I got so mad at it. I was like, dude, why? That was such a good lyric that you just used. And now it's like, it's not as good because you used a very similar lyric immediately after. It just made me feel like, I love Anberlin. I want to love Anberlin. But like this was very like an immature record to me that just felt very like you're going to do really big things after this. But why are you playing this record? It's very clear to me that like this is from your youth, and like maybe you're not as good when you're in your youth, but you need this record to get you to the next one and the one after that and the one after that, which clearly like broke them out with Feel Good Drag. So
right. And I mean, I will even say I was shocked that it wasn't New Surrender that they were playing. I mean, trust me, I love this album. I love New Surrender, but I was like, oh, that one? Do a lot of people actually know this album? I in general.
So. I think they're just pushing it because Maddie. That's going to be my assumption.
I mean, looking at the date, it came out in 2005, so it wouldn't be a full 20-year tour per se, unless they're going to kick off a 20-year tour in 2005.
Yeah.
After the end of this cycle, because I mean, that would make the most sense if they do that.
I think maybe, if they do, they're just building it up to do Maddie Mullins doing this as a tour for the year. And God, no.
Well, don't worry. New Surrender will get a maybe 20th anniversary rendition of it in 2027.
Yep. I have nothing better to say about this album. I do think Stationary is fun. Artist Are the Revolution's fun. I like the new version of Feel Good Drag better. That's it. That's my positives.
Wow.
That's what we thought. That's where we landed on our reviews of this. But we are not the only people out there thinking thoughts and feeling feelings. So we're going to look at some other reviews that also people wrote and people put out there on the internet about this record. Starting with Amazon.com.
Here we go.
Here's a review from February 11th, 2006. Benjamin gave it 3 stars. The title of the review is Let's Talk About Reviews. It is funny how this CD is rated 5 stars at Amazon. I bought it, as others already said, because it was listed in an Amazon list as one of the best records of 2005. I read some reviews here, and most of them were talking about an amazing, awesome CD. One of the reviews by Kale Weatherly said, kind of disappointing. I should have trusted that one. This CD is absolutely disappointing. I am sorry, guys, but the problem is that the reviews may be written by people who just have absolutely different taste than me. So the whole problem is that trusting Amazon reviews is just a big mistake, because I don't know who writes those reviews. Somebody younger or older than me, somebody with the same taste. Anyway, I was born in the early 70s, and I like almost anything from mellow pop to heavy metal, including classical, opera, jazz, blues, classic rock, R&B, hip hop. As you can see, almost anything. I like the music from the late 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the music the bands record today. Not this one, though. I mean, I bought Maroon 5 because everybody was talking about them, and I liked the CD. I liked Hot Fuss by the Killers, too, so I don't live in the oldies. There should be a way at Amazon to know some important information about the person who writes the review, like age and taste. It would help me, I am sure many others like me, to have an idea about the value of that review. I take my time to read a bunch of reviews before I buy a CD, and sometimes I really find great reviews. I always vote for them if I like them. But most of the reviews, like the ones saying most underrated album ever or best CD ever, are just a waste of time. The way a review should be written should be, 1, who is writing the review? Of course, nothing personal, just a musical background, so we know what to expect. 2, comment on the CD and the band, previous albums, differences and similarities from this particular CD with others, instrumentation, composition, lyrics, influences in the history of rock, production, art, etc. And 3, maybe the most important one, just in 4 to 5 lines, a conclusion that should state very clear if the writer of the review recommends this CD or not. Kind of like an essay. Well, all of this leads to my conclusion. I can't give this CD 5 stars because the history of rock will be the same without Anberlin. Come on, people. You know that. I am just listening to the CD right now, and I don't feel this guys are doing anything so special to deserve 5 stars. That is something else, because I feel like people give 5 stars so easily. 4 stars? No way at all, because this is not a very good CD. I am giving this CD 3 stars because the music is okay, not bad. The lyrics are okay. The booklet is nice with a beautiful cover, and it is my opinion, just an average CD. 2 stars will be a bad CD and 1 an awful one. Last thing to say is, do I recommend this CD to anyone? Absolutely not. That is my review. 3 stars, and I don't recommend it to anyone. Thanks for reading, and don't take this personal. I don't even know who these guys are.
Are you sure that wasn't you when you time traveled?
Oh, that was so fire. That was incredible. I love that he listed everything he could list. He listed every genre, every decade, and he counted how many stars there were in a 5-star review.
That's so
individually.
Crazy.
I love that review so much.
That's not what I was expecting. You gonna be all right, bestie?
I love it so much. He's like, I don't like this record, and I got a bone to pick with people who write reviews on Amazon because I bought this record and I don't like it, and it's all your guys' fault.
I think I more have an issue with people who think that they're critics and they're like,
if you can go to a comment section, you're a critic. I love this guy's like, hey guys, can we all get on the same page here when we're reviewing Amazon products?
Like, I just don't understand. I mean, that was early Amazon anyway. So,
yes.
Like, who knew how Amazon was back then? It could have been bad.
He went so hard. I love it.
These are very hard to find critic reviews that haven't been like just not archived and taken down, as we kind of mentioned earlier. A lot of them were from like Christian media sites. Very, very few of them were from other like just more widely known music sites. From JesusFreakHideout.com.
Okay, can I ask a question? Were Christians being so persecuted at the time that they needed a place for the Jesus freaks to hide out?
You know, that's a really good question.
Jesus Freak Hideout, get at us. Let us know.
Don't worry. They're still active. Their most recent post is today.
No.
So dead ass right now. 55th annual GMA Dove Awards announced for October 1st, 2024. Post date Friday, the 5th of January, 2024.
All right, read the review. I just want to know, who is this person? What kind of taste do they have? Like, are they like objective? Like, maybe we don't share similar interests. And so like, if they're writing a review, but can like, they give me a little bit more than just Jesus Freak Hideout.
Can they give me, I just need to know a little bit about them. Don't worry. This is from John DeBeese. Anberlin made a significant impression on rock music in 2003 with their impressive Tooth and Nail Records debut, Blueprints for the Black Market. Their brand of passionate modern rock with relative songwriting made Anberlin easy to like. Their follow-up, Never Take Friendship Personal, doesn't stray too far from the groundwork they laid with Blueprints carrying the torch forward. At first listen, add a few cuts on Never Take, it sounds like the band has struck the same formula as their catchy, hook-driven rock to serve as a vehicle to further explore the world of relationships. Songs like A Day Late, a lament over missing a golden opportunity to be with someone they care for, follow the same format musically as their hit Foreign Language. But further examination reveals it's the greatest difference and the charm of Never Take Friendship Personal, its more melodic approach to songwriting. Stephen Christian's vocals have never sounded better, and while his sound delivery is often the same, he does stretch them from time to time. The title track and The Feel Good Drag take a more aggressive approach to their signature take on the emo-flavored rock genre, even including a few screams. Lyrically, Never Take strays even further from any spirituality their debut possessed. The album's focus is solely relationships, examining different and often unique takes on them. Well, while a hint of spirituality may be found in Paper Thin Hymn, and even more beautifully tragic, The Symphony of Blasé, it's barely enough to note. Songs like the dark The Feel Good Drag address lust and deceit, while Stationary is a more upbeat and catchy letter to an old friend or former flame. The album is a solid sophomore effort from these experts of catchy, hooky alternative rock. While they may leave your spirit feeling dry by the time the last notes of Dance Dance, Chris the Pathogen fade out, Anberlin has put together a collection of relevant and fun songs that contemplate human relationships in an uncommon way. Never Take Friendship Personal is a great album to start off what looks like to be a great year in music. You will be dry, though, religiously and spiritually. I'm so sorry.
That's our opinion. That's the internet's opinion. But now, the final opinion, the opinion that matters, should you see this record at When We Were Young?
I think even without Steve and Christian, I am going to be there because I want to see the Feel Good Drag perform right and correctly. And I do really want to see a lot more of these songs live. I feel like there would also be a decision to be made if any videos come out with how Maddie Mullins performs in place, because that's also what and I think a lot of people in general who are fans are like, I get it, but I want to hear it. And I know we also don't always want similar sounding, but for some bands, I'd want that similar sound. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are looking for here. So I'm a 50-50, but most likely 75% I will be there.
I'm skipping it. No, Steven. Like for me, it would make a difference if I liked the record more, but because I don't like the record and no Steven, I'm good. This will be my one day or my one set so far where I'm like, doesn't matter.
Like,
I
not
won't be
gonna go
seeing
there.
that. I'll be missing that. Have a great day. It's not for me, so I will be seeing another band at that time, most likely. That was our thoughts. That's our opinions. Will you be seeing them at When We Were Young? Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? The comments section. That's how you let us know. You tell us. You tell me. You tell
Brian to his face.
Jesus Freak Hideout. I want to see you in the comments. I want to see you down there letting us know. Where are you hiding? Why have you been hiding for so long? What's your background?
What is the hideout?
What's your
What is the
background? What's your
hideout?
taste? What's your opinions about things? Just so I know, so I can trust your review. Remember to subscribe. We have all of the reviews for every record being played at When We Were Young coming out. You want to stay tuned to this channel. Check them all out. See what goes on with our opinions. But until then, until the festival, until When We Were Young, Anberlin, Never Take Friendship Personal, the Emo Social Club. We'll see you there.